Was this a petty move gone wrong? Or was this a calculated betrayal meant to humiliate Jim in the dirtiest way possible? Now that a video of Chrissy Elkin's intimate, private, and completely unfit for public consumption act has surfaced, insiders are pointing fingers at Camron. But wait, did Camron just cross the line of no return? What just got leaked could have completely destroyed his decades-long bond with Jim Jones. And this time, it's not a publicity stunt. It's not just about the video anymore. We're talking about backroom deals, lost opportunities, and a brotherhood that may have been a lie all along. If you've ever watched two kings turn into enemies in real time, this isn't a breakup. It's a demolition of the Dipset. And believe me when I say that what you're about to hear will forever alter your perception of Camron. Because the truth isn't just shocking, it's ugly, and once you hear it, you won't be able to unsee it. You would think that after all these years of street brotherhood, Dipset loyalty, and a shared ascent to hip-hop royalty, there would be some sort of unspoken line that Camron wouldn't dare cross, but apparently loyalty dies in silence because what just happened isn't just betrayal, it's nuclear. Let's go back in time. It all began with a leak, but this one was particularly graphic and emotionally upsetting. People initially believed it to be a deepfake, then assumed it was old footage. But within hours, Chrissy's face was trending, and the internet did what it does best. Detective mode edits began to appear on TikTok reactions. The private video, which featured none other than Chrissy Elkin, Jim Jones's longtime partner and a highly respected matriarch figure, appeared out of nowhere on a shady burner Twitter account with 0 followers, no tags, and no captions. Viral. And before anyone could verify or refute the veracity of the video, Twitter was saying Cam did it. Now, why would Camron release such a video? What could he possibly stand to gain by disclosing something so private? Was it retaliation or spite? Or was there something more sinister simmering beneath the surface of their purported brotherhood? Let's take a moment to review history because this wasn't the first time that Cam and Jim had a falling out. See? Dipset was never as simple as it seemed. The more their empire expanded, the more cracks appeared. There were subtle jabs in interviews, cryptic Instagram stories, and passive-aggressive verses. And then there were the explosive moments. It's like that notorious 2017 Hot 97 interview where Cam aired. From the outside, behind the colorful bandanas and flashy music videos, there was always friction. Power plays, backdoor business moves, and quiet competition over who really ran the crew. Camron, the charismatic mastermind. Jim Jones, the heart and street muscle. Jim wept, and Cam played it cool. But the core Dipset audience knew that this was a wound that would never heal. Fast forward to 2025, and we're back in that trauma. But this time, it's not music. It's family. It's Chrissy. What is the history? Between Chrissy and Camron, you recall the early 2000s when Chrissy was a mainstay on the scene. Not only as Jim's partner, but also as a shrewd commercial. There were constant rumors that Cam disapproved of Chrissy's influence over Jim's business decisions. Some even said that Cam tried to persuade Jim to leave her concentrate on music and become less domesticated. At the time, it seemed like harmless barbershop talk. But in retrospect, that may have been the seed of the long-simmering resentment that grew over decades. Now, with a single leak, Camron may have just allowed all of that old animosity to explode in the most unsettling way possible. The people who spoke to us anonymously for their own protection claimed that the video was shot more than 10 years ago. It was a private moment that was never supposed to be seen, but somehow it was. However, this is where things start to get suspicious. One insider claims that the video was kept on a now-defunct Dipset hard drive, which only a select few people ever had access to. Cam is said to have taken the drive when the crew split up in the middle of the 2010 fallout. Jim didn't remain silent for long. Less than 24 hours after the video went viral, Jim Jones posted a black screen to his Instagram. story with the simple words, "I see you." Fans went crazy. This is even more shocking because just days prior to the leak, Cam and Jim were seen together at a ROC Nation brunch, laughing like old friends, posing for pictures, and even hinting at a potential Dipset reunion tour. The real clapback occurred on Instagram Live in a raw, unfiltered livestream that attracted over 120K viewers in minutes. Jim spat into the camera, saying, "You don't touch family. You don't play with my woman." That video isn't an accident that was sent to hurt me. The comments section was ablaze with emojis, and viewers were crying. There was no script, no PR team, just pure rage and heartbreak. It wasn't just a personal betrayal anymore. It was a public declaration of war. At this point, the internet was ablaze with think pieces, podcast segments, and Twitter spaces discussing whether Jim was being emotional. Even longtime Dipset fans were picking sides, but Jim continued by bringing up old business. "This is the same man who denied me tour money in 2011 and told labels that I was unreliable and held this crew down. And now you want to throw dirt on Chrissy? You're a clown, a whole clown," or whether Cam had truly gone too far. And the fact that he remained completely silent only made matters worse. Chrissy Lampkin, who was known for staying 10 toes down in all storms, made a rare move of her own by unfollowing Cam on all platforms, archiving every photo that featured him, and posting a mysterious message on her story. Some wounds cut too deep. There were no names or faces, but we all knew was more than just a beef. It was betrayal on a soul level. And just when things got even more toxic, an anonymous source revealed even more. There are alleged texts between Cam and an unidentified industry friend about a plan to leak something spicy to harm Jim's reputation before a big business deal. If those texts are true, this is career sabotage, not just petty drama. The worst part is that Cam hasn't denied them, which raises the question of whether he actually did not do it. If he didn't, why isn't he defending himself? And just when we thought we had reached the pinnacle of chaos, something even more unexpected happened. Just when Jim Jones to unravel like a web of deceit. Your name gets dragged through digital hell, or perhaps Cam knew this day would come and was ready to burn it all down. The text messages, yes, they were real, but this is where it gets extra crazy. The right amount of dirt can break him down. Let's hit him where it hurts: his woman, his money, and his fans. That's right, his reputation in the industry. These alleged text messages between Cam and an unnamed industry insider, according to sources close to the matter, paint a far more sinister picture. In them, Cam talks about not just destroying Jim's brand with one video leak, but planning an entire smear campaign to derail his reputation in the industry. The message went on to explain how this industry friend allegedly told Cam to keep it low-key. But Jim's Instagram Live changed the game and the conversation entirely. It wasn't just about the video anymore. It was about the entire legacy of Dipset. The public's perception of the crew was about to take a severely negative turn, with both fans and industry insiders beginning to question whether all those years of loyalty were worth it. Let's take a moment to reflect. If Cam did leak that video as part of a larger scheme to destroy Jim, it would be the most calculated move in hip-hop history. The internet was ablaze with half-truths, assumptions, and facts. Everyone was a detective. Is Cam behind this? Was he trying to push Jim out of Dipset all along? Could this be a calculated move to regain control of the group? Imagine taking down a brother with the most intimate of fans dug into Cam's past and discovered some unsettling patterns in a Twitter thread that sent shockwaves across the internet. Fans unearthed several old photos of Cam with other rappers' former friends who had been discarded once they were no longer useful, revealing that Cam wasn't just known for making hits. Betrayals are hurting not only his career but also his personal life in the B process, all while hiding behind silence. According to some sources, the leaks didn't end with Chrissy's video. No, We're talking about photos, personal messages, and financial documents that were leaked to various bloggers and dubious outlets who were more than to spread the rumors. If you cross him, you're done. That was his power move, because when Cam went silent, he knew the world would turn against Jim, and he was just enjoying the show. But here's where it gets really dirty. This is where things get crazy. An unidentified third party who had previously been connected to both Jim and Cam allegedly contacted Jim and Cam separately, offering them exclusive interviews and deals. They even attempted to arrange a fictitious reunion between the two of them. But there was a catch. They wanted control of the story to make money off of the feud, to make it public, and to make the entire situation into a spectacle. The puppet. Master's ultimate goal was to escalate the conflict until it reached a boiling point, making it impossible for the two ex-brothers to ever get back together. This was the ultimate betrayal. It wasn't just business. At the heart of it all, is Cam Jim really behind the scenes? Or is there something more sinister at work? Whatever the truth is, we can't ignore one thing: the fallout from this scandal will affect more than just their friendship. Will also affect their legacies, music, fans, and lives, and we've only touched the surface. It's not just about Jim and Cam anymore. It's about the entire culture of loyalty, betrayal, ambition that holds the hip-hop world together, and it's unraveling in real time. As the world watches this feud, this jaw-dropping story, the destruction isn't just personal, it's public. And when we say public, we mean explosive. Because what happens when two legends fall out? In the most catastrophic way possible, makes the entire industry tremble. Something even more sinister began to surface. The financial consequences of this betrayal were beginning to hit harder than any lyric or diss track could. People close to Cam and Jim, who recall having their hands in a number of profitable business ventures, started to leak a troubling narrative about both men losing a significant amount of money. You might think these are just rumors, but these are people who are deeply involved in their communities, including publicists, managers, and their former label. Executives who have all been affected by this industry feud, and it's terrible. Jim Jones, for instance, reportedly had multiple endorsement deals put on hold indefinitely. And his partnership with a well-known luxury brand was also put on hold indefinitely. The brand didn't want to be associated with the ongoing drama surrounding his personal life, and they couldn't afford the scandal. As for Camron, it turns out that his attempt to rebuild his solo career hit a huge wall with business partners. The rumors of unpaid contracts, shaky financial dealings, and even rumors that Cam was being sued by a former label executive for alleged mismanagement of funds made it clear that the drama was no longer just about the music, but about survival. Cam and Jim had to make some serious decisions quickly or risk losing everything. They were backing out left and right, unsure if aligning with the rapper was worth the potential PR disaster. Jim Jones was accused of filing an official lawsuit against Camron for defamation. The charges included slander, conspiracy, and emotional distress related to the leaked video and the subsequent public attacks on his personal life. Insiders said Jim's legal team was ready to take it all the way to court, but they weren't. This was the real business side of the fallout. It felt like a legal storm had just rolled in, bringing with it a barrage of accusations, counterclaims, and settlements. The rumor that Jim was demanding millions of dollars in damages and a public apology from Cam was even more shocking. Claim was so outrageous that it caught even the most experienced lawyers off guard. Camron, however, wasn't going to let go unanswered. Instead, he responded with a counterclaim that claimed Jim had been extorting him for years. He accused Jim of using their friendship to steal money and sway business deals, and now he was demanding a sizable payout himself. The fans, who have supported them since the beginning and know every word and wore every Dipset chain as if it were their own, are the ones who are feeling the brunt of this mess, and it's tearing them apart. At first, fans didn't know who to believe. Some sided with Jim, claiming Cam. Chaos legal experts predicted that this case could drag on for years. And with each day that went by, the public's perception of both men began to deteriorate even more. Was this the end of their careers and their legacies? The underdog narrative was in full force, but it was difficult to ignore the growing rift between the two factions of teens, of Dipset supporters after years of watching Jim play second fiddle. However, then came the bombshells. Fans began to delve deeper into the story, and the more they discovered, the more their loyalty was shaken. After the video leak went viral, leaked footage surfaced showing Jim's emotional breakdown. His only public statement was a tweet that read, "Sometimes the truth hurts, but it has to be said." No clarification, no apology, just a cold, calculated statement that only fueled the flames further. As he stared at his phone screen, he muttered, "Is this how they really feel about me after everything we've been through?" Cam remained unconcerned and went silent once more. He knew the impact it would have, but the longer he remained silent, the more people started to see a different side of him, the calculating. Self-serving, the entire Dipset fanbase was split, and the industry took notice. The more they argued, the less power they held. Their unity was eroding, and both men were to blame. The question was whether they could ever mend the damage, or if their actions permanently tainted the legacy they built together. Now let's talk about Chrissy, because at the heart of was a businessman who would stop at nothing to maintain control. Chrissy Lampkin was, of course, Jim's longtime partner. As the drama developed, her name was also dragged through the mud. She had been publicly criticized, and it was obvious that she was caught in the middle of this mess. But fans didn't realize at the time that Chrissy wasn't just a victim. There were rumors that she had known about the betrayal before the rest of the world did. Some even claimed that she had seen the video before it was made public and had been pressuring Jim to take action against Cam, whether that was true or not. Chrissy's role in this scandal only made it more mysterious. Was she really merely a pawn in this game, or did she have reasons for remaining silent while everything fell apart? The worst part is that it wasn't just about the men anymore. It was also about their families, their reputations, and everything they had worked so hard to build over the years. The longer went on, the more those who had previously supported them were now caught up in the fallout. They distanced themselves so as not to be caught in the crossfire of a feud that was getting out of hand. At this point, we must ask whether there is any chance for reconciliation. Whether Jim and Cam can ever mend what's broken, or whether this feud is really the end of the Dipset era. The legacy they spent years creating is now in jeopardy, and not only their reputations but also their place in hip-hop history are at stake. The truth about the Jim Jones and Camron feud, the shattered bond, and the explosive fallout that's rocking the hip-hop world. But here's the real question, and I want to hear your thoughts. Who's in the wrong here? Was it Cam's betrayal? The truth about the lawsuits piles up. Public opinion shifts, and the music industry holds its breath. One thing is for sure, though, and that is that the story isn't over yet. The final chapters haven't been written yet. If you enjoyed this in-depth look at the chaos, please remember to hit the like button. Share this video with your friends and subscribe for more explosive content. The world is watching and the drama is far from over. That's it for today's jaw-dropping story. But is it Jim's own greed and ambition that ignited the fire? Let me know in the comments below if you think they can ever put things right, or if this is the end of Dipset's reign. You know, I'm reading every single comment, so I want to know if you're on Team Jim or Team Cam. Or if you think this whole thing was a mess from the beginning. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we release the next wild story. Before you leave, I need to hear from you. Do you think Jim Jones had the right to target Camron in this way? Or did Camron get a raw deal in all of? Please remember to like, comment, and share this video to keep the conversation going. Until the next time, keep your eyes open and stay tuned. As always, we have the truth, and we're not afraid to expose it. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. We're just getting started, and you want to be here for the real tea. I'll see you in the following one.